Hello and welcome to Southeastern Sports Network's NFL Draft Simulation. My name is Gabby Haynes. As the NFL draft draws ever closer, our football experts here at SSN have taken on the role of drafting for teams randomly selected for them. Before we begin the draft, let's meet the experts and what teams they are selecting for. First off, we have Nathan Goergen. Nathan is drafting for the Jaguars, Dolphins, Raiders, Washington, Titans, and Packers.
Hello. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Next up is Scott Atchison. Scott is drafting for the Jets, Broncos, Eagles, Chargers, Bears, Browns, and Buccaneers.
Thank you.
Let's go, badass.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here. I really appreciate it.
Then we have Tristan Fluhr. Tristan is drafting for the 49ers, Falcons, Bengals, Lions, Vikings, Patriots, Bills, and Chiefs. Yeah.
All right. Excited to be here. Let's get going.
Last but not least is Turner Graves. Turner is drafting for the Panthers, Cowboys, Giants, Cardinals, Colts, Steelers, Ravens, and Saints. Yeah.
All right.
Now that we have met the experts and who they are drafting for, it's time to officially open this draft. Each drafter will announce their pick and discussion will ensue from around the table before the next pick is on the clock. So with that being said, the Jacksonville Jaguars and Nathan are on the clock. The pick is in, and with the first overall pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Trevor Lawrence, quarterback for Clemson University.
All right.
No surprise there.
Once in a decade type.
And
He'll be all right.
He's the best player in the draft, and I think if
That is false.
Jacksonville, really?
Yes.
You do not believe Trevor Lawrence is the best player?
I do not believe he is the best player in this draft.
Interesting. We will see who that is. Okay.
I didn't.
But yeah, my pick is in, by the way.
Okay, the New York Jets select Zack Wilson, quarterback for BYU.
All right.
Pretty easy there. That's the consensus.
I'm a big BYU. See, I was a big Jimmer Fredette fan, and I see a little bit of Jimmer Fredette in Zach Wilson. I'm not saying skill-wise, but you know, BYU
Competitive.
Yeah. He's a risk reward type. I mean, he could easily turn into the next John Manziel.
He's huge arm strength and talent there. I think one thing you have to look at with him is size, because he's actually 6'3", which a lot of people wouldn't guess from looking at him. He's deceptively tall, and he has good measurables, and I think that New York's getting themselves a guy that they can build on.
Absolutely.
I think they felt the same thing with Sam Darnold, but
That clip of him throwing off the back foot of the media there.
That clinch number 2 for him.
The media just absolutely blew it out of proportion.
I mean,
I feel like Justin Fields made the exact same throw on his pro day, and it wasn't.
Well, again, like I said, Wilson's boomer bust.
We shall see.
Yeah.
see, one thing too, I don't think I'll be drafting him later, but Zach Wilson or Trevor Lawrence, Mac Jones, and Justin Fields are not the best quarterback in this draft.
Okay, next up for the San Francisco 49ers, we have Trey Lance, quarterback for North Dakota State.
Whoa!
Oh!
So basically, my logic here with Trey Lance is I was going to pick Justin Fields up until I heard about the epilepsy. Nothing against that. It's just I don't think NFL teams will necessarily take to that as well as somebody who has the measurables of Trey Lance. Trey Lance is a guy who has mega arm talent. The competition level are the only concerns with him. He's mobile and can take over games with his legs. I mean, you talk about a game this season where he didn't play very well throwing the ball. He had 3 interceptions, but he was able to take over with his legs, score 5 touchdowns rushing. This season, he's incredible. He was incredible his freshman year. He's young, and he's exactly what Kyle Shanahan's going to be looking for in that offense.
Kind of went a little bit outside the box here. The consensus was either Justin Fields or who knew, maybe even Mac Jones, but Tristan going Trey Lance, very interesting. I think I like it.
Yeah, really smart guy. I had him going 4th because I just thought San Francisco was going with Fields or Jones. But yeah, really solid pick there. I like it.
Pick 4 for the Atlanta Falcons is Kyle Pitts
Oh, yeah.
for Florida.
I like it.
He's the biggest. He may be the best player in the draft, not named Trevor Lawrence as a quarterback. He's the best athlete. He's a unicorn. Unicorn in the NFL terms is that you can't match him up. And the fact that he can't be matched up with linebackers because he's too quick. He can't be matched up with DBs because he's too long and too tall and too big. But the problem when you're talking about Kyle Pitts and the Atlanta Falcons, why didn't have them drafting a quarterback, you would think they would draft a quarterback. How often are the Atlanta Falcons picking in the top 5? Not very often. But the problem is Matt Ryan still has good years left. We've seen that. It's a lack of talent that's been around him, really, has been the problem. You surround him with Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, Kyle Pitts, and you know that the Saints are having quarterback issues, the Panthers are having quarterback issues, the Bucs, who knows what's happening with them?
They're winning.
Atlanta has a chance.
Sure.
The Buccaneers will be winning the Super Bowl.
Well, I guarantee that they'll win the division. I'm just not sure if that wild card spot could be open. I think Atlanta can take advantage of
Yeah,
that.
I can see that.
If he lives up to his potential, the Falcons definitely make the playoffs next year.
And a guy who's a lot like him in terms of physical presence and hype coming out of the draft, Julio Jones, who they've also drafted.
Okay, the Cincinnati Bengals have Panay Sewell for Oregon.
Well, because the thing is, you have to protect Joe Burrow. You could pick guys that are pass catchers, but we've seen this with Andrew Luck. If you don't protect your quarterback, they're not going to last. Joe Burrow, in his first season, has a terrible ACL injury.
Yeah.
And what you're talking about here is protection. That's what Panay Sewell is. He's a large human, 308 pounds, ran a 5.1 second 40 at his pro day. This guy can move. He is an athlete, and he just has untapped potential. He's a little bit rigid in his motion sometimes. His feet aren't as where I like them. For offensive linemen, I think that as a pro-ready prospect, Rashawn Slater is probably the better prospect. But I think when you're talking about upside potential, Panay Sewell is the guy.
Well, Panay Sewell has the potential to be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
Are we
He's the
comparing?
most, I think he's the most raw prospect. Definitely lineman in the draft. He's got potential to
Where do you compare him to Big Quinn?
I think, well, I mean, Clinton's a guard, and Sewell's a tackle.
Yeah.
But I think that their measurables are similar in the fact that I think Quentin Nelson does have better feet. When he was coming out of the draft from Notre Dame, I mean, he was consensus a top 10 pick as soon as Panay Sewell is the same way. I think they both have very similar ways of playing, and they're both maulers in the fact that they will run over you rather than finesse block you. But at the same time, I think that they will be cornerstones of whatever team they are. And I think you're talking about great offensive tackles in Cincinnati Bengals history. Who you talk about first, Anthony Munoz. I think Panay Sewell has that potential to maybe be an Anthony Munoz type guy for the Cincinnati Bengals.
You know, and we saw the Bengals post a picture of Joe Burrow, and you could definitely see that ACL scar. Tristan actually just sent to me before this, but that scar was nasty. So Cincinnati taking on linemen here definitely makes.
For the Miami Dolphins, we have Devontae Smith, a wide receiver for Alabama.
Wow. Okay.
I know a lot of people have Jamar at the top of their board, and he's good. Don't get me wrong, but there was work ethic issues. He opted out of 2020. There's just a lot of things about him that you would have loved to see this year, but he opted out, so you couldn't see him. Devontae Smith coming off a Heisman season, always like that. Alabama wide receivers have a history of success in the NFL. They need a target for Tua if they want to, keep him at quarterback and keep this core the way they want it. And I think Devontae Smith is the best way to do that.
He's only 166 pounds, though, which is a concern. But really, I have a grade. I hate comparing guys to Hall of Famers just because I think it's unrealistic. But this guy reminds me the most of Marvin Harrison out of any player I've seen in years. I think this guy is slender, but I think he can make all the catches. He's a tough athlete, and I think he can be huge for Tua Tagovailoa. And you're also creating that Alabama connection.
I was just about to say, I think this Dolphins pick is really up between any of the three receivers. I think with the Dolphins picking Smith or Waddle, I think they play the Tua side a little bit more, make the quarterback happy. But if they go front office, coaching oriented, maybe Jamar Chase is the move. Maybe that's what they want. But I think either way, any three you draft, you're going to have success. I think all three of them will be.
For the Detroit Lions, we got Jamar Chase, who's a wide receiver for Louisiana State.
There you go.
I mean, he was the most dominant college player in 2019, if you're talking about it. 4.38 second at his 40 at LSU Pro Day. This guy is quick. He can line up in the slot or on the outside. He's very strong hands, physical slot receiver. You want guys that are aggressive. Dan Campbell, the head coach for the Lions, he likes aggressive guys. That's exactly what Jamar Chase is. I think this is a perfect fit to help Jared Goff with the departure of Kenny Galladay.
That man's got wheels. Dude can run all over the field. I watched him a little bit play at LSU. I really liked what I saw from him when I did watch. I do prefer him over Devontae Smith, but again, it kind of goes both ways.
Okay, so for the Carolina Panthers, we have Rashawn Slater, who is an offensive tackle from Northwestern.
Good.
Good.
Yeah, I think the Panthers here just got Sam Darnold. I think the number one importance of positional needs, I guess, is just protecting Darnold, getting alignment. We saw what happened in New York with the Jets when he was not surrounded with a good line or weapons. I think he struggles. Panthers last year, 24th in points in the league, 21st in offensive yards. That was the worst in points that they finished since 2010 when Jimmy Clausen was their quarterback. So I think getting protection for Darnold, let him set up, see the pocket more, see the field. I think he'll get a little bit more comfortable and have a little bit more success in Carolina.
I mean, he made Chase Young's name miserable when they played Ohio State in 2019. I think that's where a lot of people fell in love with him. He has less potential to grow than Sewell, but I think he's the better prospect starting day one right now, and I think that's what makes him intriguing to a lot of teams, including the Carolina Panthers.
Right. I think it's just a classic question. Are you going to draft one that's more pro ready now or the one that has more potential?
Before Gabby reads this pick, this is who I believe is the best quarterback in this draft.
For the Denver Broncos, we got Kyle Trask.
Really?
Nine.
I firmly believe, now, a lot of you may not know me
Reach of the year.
watching, but all of you guys know here, I'm a bold guy. I like going my bold ways. I firmly believe Patrick Mahomes is horrible, just to give you some of my takes. But Kyle Trask, I've watched him at Florida, all season. There was only one game that I really had issues with him. But out of everyone in this draft, he's a pocket quarterback. Now, I think he's the only one in this draft who will be able to survive the NFL. I mean, we see Zach Wilson, Trevor Lawrence, Trey Lance. These guys all run out of the pocket. We've even seen with Joe Burrow. It's not really something you can do in the NFL. We see the great quarterbacks. We got Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, he's decent. But even he runs out of the pocket. He doesn't stay in the pocket. I believe it's going to hurt them later in the future. Kyle Trask, pocket quarterback. I love him.
You make some valid points. The problem I have with that entire argument is that you just pick somebody who a lot of people are thinking is going to go in the third round to the ninth round.
I have him as a fourth round
grade
as a quarterback. I don't even have him in my top 75 players.
I have him 80.
In this NFL draft.
I have him 80. And, I think I like the pick. I like where you're coming from. But, man, is that a reach?
Let's come back in 2 weeks when Zack is not even on the Broncos.
For the Dallas Cowboys, we have Patrick Surtain.
I really like it because I think the Cowboys are in need of some secondary help. Obviously, their cap is through the roof. They can't afford much players. They're going to have to nail it in the draft if they're going to, advance further.
And that Cowboys defense can't stop anybody.
Yeah.
So
that's the best corner in the draft right there.
Yeah, great ball skills, good tackler, tall and lean. He will make any secondary he's on better. I think that this is a great pick for Jerry Jones, the Dallas Cowboys.
With the Dallas Cowboys, they lost Byron Jones in 2019. They lost Chidobe Awuzie this year. Jordan Lewis are both free agents. So, those are your top three corners. Trayvon Diggs is still there. But other than that, it's really a whole lot of nothing. If you bring in Patrick Surtain, get that Bama, chemistry coming back. We talked about it a little bit with Tua. But the Alabama chemistry and also Patrick Surtain matches Dan Quinn's scheme very nicely in Dallas. So I think he'll do great there.
Okay, so for the New York Giants, we have Jalen Waddle.
Ooh, I like that pick.
Yeah, wide receiver, Alabama, coming off of a knee injury. Really, that's the only concern for mine. He's the fifth overall player on my big board.
Listen, I have Las Vegas. I'm picking for Las Vegas. And I wanted him to fall to 17 because that is such a Raiders pick.
Very much is.
Yeah, and so, I really do like it. Tyreek Hill-like abilities. They're just a solid player.
I think the Giants, their two biggest needs would probably be either lineman or wide receiver. But at this spot, I think there's not really a good offensive lineman. Penny Sewell or Sean Slater are already taken. I think there's more value here at wide receiver. So I think if the Giants can keep defenses stacked in the box, stack 8 in the box with Saquon, and leave one of the receivers open, I feel like it would just be great. And then the Giants, I know Gelman said that he would like to trade down. I don't think that's going to happen. I think the Giants never trade down. And then Gelman said he's just going to take the best available once he gets there, and I think he's the best available. So I think Waddle will do great.
Okay, for the Philadelphia Eagles, we have Azeez Ojulari for Georgia.
Yeah. Not any bias here. Obviously, big Bears guy. Roquan Smith came right out of Georgia. He's been a phenomenal player. Georgia, I think, produces some of the best defensive players in the NFL. Can't really name any. Roquan Smith, obviously. But I just love that Georgia Bulldog mentality. The Eagles, the one thing I saw last year that I think they really struggled with was the defensive side. But I think this linebacker would be great for them.
Okay, for the Los Angeles Chargers, we have J.C. Horn
Okay.
from
Okay.
South Carolina.
Very much like it. He's my second rated cornerback. I think Surtain's definitely got that number one spot locked down.
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, you took him earlier. Or sorry, Turner took him earlier.
Yeah, and I think the Chargers need a lot on offense, on defense. They're not, and they need quarterback. It's one of their primary needs. I think I would have gone with an edge rusher, maybe a safety if that was available at that time. But I really do like this pick.
Okay, for the Minnesota Vikings, we have Micah Parsons,
All right.
edge for Penn State.
You know, I considered picking him with my Eagles pick.
Well, I think what you have to think about with Micah Parsons first is character concerns. Those have come up recently. Some bullying concerns at Penn State. But he's a gifted pass rusher. And the Vikings, Rick Spielman is not afraid to draft players with some character concerns. Last year, he had home run with Justin Jefferson. And I think this year he has the potential to do it again. Justin Jefferson fell down the board a lot because of the Eagles. And I think that Micah Parsons is very similar, a guy who has a ton of talent, but it's falling down boards. And I think that Rick Spielman's going to take him, use him. I mean, he's a gifted pass rusher and run stuffer. He plays sideline to sideline, and he has great speed and aggressiveness. He was the heart and soul of that Penn State defense for the past few years. I think he's a great pick for the Minnesota Vikings, a team that has lost to Neil Hunter, a team that Everson Griffin isn't getting any younger. They need edge, and I think that Micah Parsons is the perfect player.
For the New England Patriots, we have Justin Fields, a quarterback for Ohio State.
Yeah.
There he goes.
I mean, I think that with Justin Fields, I think you can't judge him because of the helmet that he wears. Ohio State, a lot of people don't like Ohio State quarterbacks.
The Ohio State.
The Ohio State. He has a huge arm, needs to work on decision making a little bit. I think that's the one concern you have with him, but I think if Bill Belichick can teach anything, that's decision making. He's a quarterback mentor. I mean, you're talking about a guy like Cam Newton for also to mentor. And while Cam may not be the super Cam that we all fell in love with years ago, I think that Justin Fields has a lot of the same tools and a lot of the same potential that he could be that guy. And I really think that epilepsy is measured well and it is taken care of, and I don't think it should be a problem.
Yeah, I think I was going to say with all the comparisons of Mac Jones and Tom Brady, and he's fallen all the way here. I didn't know if Tristan was going to pull the trigger on Mac Jones, but I like Justin Fields. I honestly don't think he's going to fall this far in the real draft. But I think that's a great pick.
Okay, for the Cardinals, we got Caleb Farley
Good.
from Virginia Tech.
Yeah, after Scott took J.C. Horn, had to get another corner in there. I think he's the next corner off the board. The Cardinals, Patrick Peterson, Drake Kirkpatrick, Jonathan Joseph, and Kevin Peterson, all free agents. Those are four corners. The only ones they have Byron Murphy, Robert Alford, and Robert Alford has not played a snap with them yet in 2 years. So I think corner is just far and away the biggest need for this defense. And hopefully Kyler Murray gives him help on the other side of the ball.
This guy's a ball hawk. He has great anticipation. Who he reminds me of is Marcus Peters, and the fact that he will let up the big play, but he will make a lot of big plays on the defensive end.
So we got Christian Barmore,
Okay,
Alabama.
I heard Christian. I thought it was going to be Darisaw.
Oh, no.
a Raiders pick. That is a Raiders pick. Christian Barmore. You got me thinking Christian Barmore. Only a half a year of production. He takes plays off, but when he's on, he's unstoppable. 6'5", 310. He's a great block shed, great bull rush move. Christian Barmore, when he's on, is a top 10 player.
Yeah, I was thinking of Lucas Cormora, that I was trying to put myself in the shoes of Mike Mayock, which is pretty easy to do considering how much footage we have. And yeah, Barmore just made the most sense.
For the Miami Dolphins, we have Jason Away, an edge for Penn State.
Yeah,
I like the pick.
yeah, I think they want to focus on defense. You just grabbed Devontae Smith with the 6th pick. Thanks to the Houston Texans, butt fumbling Laramie Tunsil. They now have, 2 first-round picks at the 6 and 18. Really building that team up. I really like what they're doing. I think is just the next step.
5 sacks in 2019. He wasn't super impressive in 2020, but I think that 2019 tape is good enough to put him in. He's the guy that plays opposite of Micah Parsons for that Penn State defense. That is an impressive defense.
Yeah,
They have there in Happy Valley. And I think that if you bring Jason Oweh into that, invoking Jason Taylor in the memories of the Miami Dolphins, I think that could be a possibility. And I think that Miami needs that edge to pressure guys like Josh Allen, pressure guys like Zach Wilson if we're going in where this mock draft just pressure guys like him do Justin Fields. You need that guy like that. I think Jason Owe is kind of a one-trick pony in the fact of just being a pass rusher, but I think I kind of need that.
For Washington football team, we have Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, linebacker for Notre Dame.
Yeah, I think Washington needs a linebacker. Again, you got Chase Young had a great year, I think, and then you pair him up with Montez Sweat. I think that line is kind of sweet, but you want a linebacker, and Owusu-Koramoah had great footage, especially against Clemson. I think he's one of the only bright spots in that second Clemson game that they had, where they got, dismantled. So, just really like the pick.
So I had the next pick with the Chicago Bears, and I know most of you already know where I'm going with this.
Now,
I am going to back up my pick, and I hope you guys agree with me.
Here we go.
Okay,
There
so
we go.
for the Bears, we got Rondale Moore, a wide receiver from Purdue.
Let's go, baby.
We got the boy.
Go up.
So, main reason why I went with this, obviously we got Tariq Cohen coming back from the Bears. And you guys know Matt Nagy. He was under Andy Reid at Kansas City right before Kansas City really popped off with Mahomes, Hill, Hardman, and all that. The Bears actually just recently signed Marquise Goodwin from
Get some more speed.
Yes. So what I ultimately want and what I think Matt Nagy might try to do if this pick went through is speed up the offense a little bit. We already have Al Robinson, who I arguably think is the most underrated, not most underrated,
One of the most underrated.
one of the most underrated wide receivers in the league. I mean, you look at his numbers compared to everyone else's.
With
and
the quarterback play
with,
he's had.
with the quarterback play he's had, especially Nick Foles, really the only bad quarterback he's played with. But again, you got Darnell Mooney, who's showed.
We forget about that Mitchell focus.
We already went over this.
No, let's keep going.
Oh, Magic Mitch, yeah, my boy. Anyways,
The MVP.
they got They got Darnell Mooney on there, who looks promising. So I think the Bears are going to go with a high-paced offense this year. Really didn't run the ball until the second half of the season with David Montgomery, and he looked very promising, especially with very slow and underdeveloped offensive line that we had all year last year. So I love this pick. I think the Bears really should go with it. Get that high-speed offense, especially with an old quarterback like Andy Dalton. He's not going to be moving around too much. So getting guys around him that can move, I think, is perfect.
And for the Colts, we got Christian Darrisaw
Good pick.
from Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
I think with the Colts, Anthony Costanza, longtime left tackle, retiring, have to replace him.
Yeah.
Carson Wentz, if we want any shot of him turning around his career, we're going to need protection. We're going to need to give him a lot of time. I know he's worked out with a lot of the Colts receivers already, having a lot of chemistry. I think the only missing piece there is that line. And we have a very, very solid line. Just another solid piece to it. Getting it just greater as a whole, I think will give Carson more time. And obviously, if he has more time, he can make more plays.
Okay, for the Titans, we have Greg Newsome from Northwestern.
Okay.
Yeah, I like Greg Newsome. Of course, Northwestern really stepped up their program recently. I mean, we just got Rashawn Slater, second best tackle. We got one of the top quarterbacks. They're going to have two players going in the first round. Never thought I'd say that about Northwestern football, traditionally called the feeder school of the Big Ten. I think he's got great tape. He's got great ball instincts. I think he doesn't get as many interceptions as he does, but he keeps a good press on the offense on who's covering. So I really like this pick, and I think he can develop into something.
An interesting stat about Greg Newsome, he has never had a college interception, but he does have 20 pass deflections in 2 years.
That's exactly.
The guy is not
That's pretty good.
pulling in the ball, but he can knock it away. And
For the New York Jets, we have Elijah Vera Tucker from USC.
Scott, I'm not going to lie with you. I think this is the first pick I agree with you so far.
I mean, the Jets need everything.
That's
in
true.
my opinion. I really like Sam Darnold. I'm glad he's in Carolina now. One thing, no protection for him, and especially earlier I had Zach Wilson going to the Jets. He's going to need protection, especially being a little bit of a mobile quarterback. I think the offensive line is the most important part of an NFL team. Obviously, we made that comparison earlier. Andrew Luck, he's not even in the league anymore. Broken ribs, different things like that. I believe if the Colts had the offensive line they had now, Andrew Luck would still be in the league and be in the conversation for that GOAT spot. But again, the Jets, they got a lot to work on.
He's the best interior offensive lineman in the draft, no matter what way you cut it. He can play center and guard. I think he's a better run blocker than a pass blocker. He's a great at pulling, the pulling guard. He did that a lot at USC. But I think that he really adds some stability to that New York Jets offensive line.
For the Pittsburgh Steelers, we have Mac
Mac
Jones.
Jones.
All righty, there we
Quarterback
go.
from Alabama.
I think, I know you were hesitant, and for good reason, but I think that pick is really solid, especially Big Ben's got to retire sometime, and he kind of fits that Mike Tomlin style offense. Obviously, he just got extended for whatever reason. So, I think he could really live it up in Pittsburgh. I think he could do some great things on Big Ben.
He's a great processor. I mean, you see him look through his reads super well. He needs to be surrounded with talent at the next level. I think that's what Pittsburgh has. If you have a guy like, they didn't extend James Conner, but they need to find a running back. That'd probably be a second round.
Yeah.
A guy like Javonte Williams, a guy that fits the Pittsburgh system so well. You need to go with wide receivers. So you have guys like Chase Claypool. You have guys like Juju Smith-Schuster. You have Eric Ebron as a tight end. You have guys to surround him with stuff. You have a great offensive line. And that's what Pittsburgh has. I think this is one of the best situations for Mac Jones to end up with.
So just a little bit of insight before this draft played out. I was thinking either Najee Harris or Travis Etienne for the Steelers. Either running back would have been good. I honestly didn't think Mac Jones was going to fall this far.
I didn't either.
So, I mean, if he's on the board with the Steelers, I don't think you're
It's a
going to
no-brainer.
I don't think you're going to get another quarterback that good at pick 24 in any draft in the future. So, I just think it's very risky, but I think the Steelers would like that pick.
For the Jaguars, we have Elijah Moore, wide receiver from Ole Miss.
Ooh.
And I know this is a bit of a reach. It's a risk for sure. But you got Trevor Lawrence. You're gonna want to come in and get a splash, kind of Antonio Brown like in a way. I think he's got a great. He's a great route runner. On the field. I mean, we had some Ole Miss behavioral issues too. Let's hope that doesn't carry over. Larry Tunsil being the primary example of that. But it's, I think he's a great route runner. I think he's great for Trevor Lawrence. And I think, it's always good to have a new target and a new quarterback, especially when you have 2 first-round picks. And I know Saxonville's been long gone. I think defense is definitely in need. But I think they're going to go and splurge on 2 offensive talents here.
For the Cleveland Browns, we have Zayden Collins from Tulsa.
Scott, this is the best pick you've made so far.
You keep improving.
You do improve.
Every sport, defense, maybe not golf. Defense in golf. I guess you got to defend the ball from
The water and the sand.
The water
There
and the
you go,
sand.
there you go.
But defense wins championships. I mean, prime example, Bears back in 05. Rex Grossman as our quarterback, but that probably was one of the best defenses ever seen on a field. I mean, if the Colts really didn't have Peyton Manning, if they had any other quarterback, I see the Bears winning that Super Bowl. But again, defense wins championships, and the Browns do need a linebacker. I think it'll help them tremendously.
Yeah, I think Zayden Collins is a home run pick here. 54 tackles, 4 sacks, 4 interceptions, 2 forced fumbles in 2020. He's a great leader on and off the field for that Tulsa team.
For the Baltimore Ravens, we have Terrace Marshall Jr., a wide receiver from LSU.
All right, let me explain. Goergen, calm down.
It's your heart.
The Ravens need to get Lamar help. Sammy Watkins is not going to get that job done.
Sure.
And about maybe 2 weeks ago even, Terrace Marshall would not even been a thought. But at the pro day, he exceeded expectations, ran a 4.38 40. He had the speed and can have a big play threat, and Lamar needs that. And the best thing he has right now is Marquise Brown.
Okay, for the New Orleans Saints, we have Gregory Rousseau, an edge from Miami.
I like the pick. I think he was splitting time with Jalen Phillips there, but I do like the pick. I think he's the better out of the 2.
I'm shocked he lasted.
I am shocked he lasted this long. This was somebody I was thinking about taking with Miami, but I like to always take a little better. So I really like that Rousseau pick.
He's only 20 years old. He's a phenomenal pass rusher. He has great size and speed. I think this is a great pick for New Orleans, who kind of misfired with Marcus Davenport a little bit a few years ago from UTSA, but I think that they need help on that defense, and they also don't have a lot of cap room.
Yeah.
So I think extending Cam Jordan, who's not getting any younger, would be a problem for them. So
Yeah, defensive was my thinking and my thought process for the Saints, and then also, as Tristan mentioned, that cap space is just deadly. So anything that can get the Saints in a little bit more a better money situation would be the right pick for them, and I think Gregory Rousseau is just that.
For the Green Bay Packers, we have Tyson Campbell.
I want to take you guys on a little journey to the 2020 NFC Championship game. We lose
We love that game, by
to
the way.
the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I heard Kevin King was.
And this is what I'm saying. The last play before halftime, Kevin King did possibly the worst thing I've ever seen from a starting cornerback in NFL history.
Wow.
Okay, that might be a little bit early. But, you know, as a self-loathing Packers fan as I am, Kevin King, I don't know why we extended him. We need another corner. We need another corner, plain and simple. The offense is fine, and I know everybody's going to say wide receiver, or even offensive line, because we lost some key pieces there. But, I mean, you've got to go with Campbell.
For the Buffalo Bills, we have Travis Etienne.
Whoa!
Whoa!
Honestly, not too big of a bombshell. I mean, Buffalo has a pick to burn here.
Yeah, they're a complete team.
Yeah, so they need that's where you select running back, and Travis Etienne is the best.
I mean,
They have Singletary.
they have Singletary and they have Zach Moss, but they don't have that guy that can be the guy who can do it all. I think that's Travis Etienne, 5'10", 210. He's had 1,600 yards in 2018 and 2019. 13 touchdowns in his freshman year, 24 touchdowns his sophomore year, 19 his junior year, and 14 his senior year. He's elusive and a one-cut guy. He took over the Notre Dame game when Lawrence was out and DJ Goergen was quarterback for Clemson.
You killed that.
I really think that Travis Etienne is one of the best players in the draft, number 20 on my big board. I think that this is a home run pick for Brian Dable, who's the offensive coordinator for Buffalo. I think this is a great pick for Sean McDermott, and especially for Josh Allen.
All right, we got Kwity Paye, an edge from Michigan.
Good.
I think this is an easy pick for Kansas City. He has a high motor. He has great size at 6'4", 274. He does a lot of things that don't show up on the stat sheet. 6.5 stats in 2019, only 2 in 2020. But this guy has a high motor. He makes a lot of effort plays, and I think that's what Kansas City needs more than anything. You could take an offensive lineman here. I very much consider taking Tevin Jenkins from Oklahoma State. But I think that they just need an edge, and I think here, Kwity Paye was the best player available on the board. I think you got to go with Kwity Paye.
Chris Rump.
As you were saying with the Bills, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are a complete team. Yeah, they don't need anyone. I'm a big Blue Devils fan.
You're a Blue Devils?
I'm a big Duke Blue Devils fan. Really haven't seen anyone come out from them in the NFL draft. Would love to see someone. But yeah, I think the Patriots, or not the Patriots, the Buccaneers, they have everything they need. I kind of made this pick out of spite. Love Duke.
Okay, we want to thank you for checking out SSN's mock draft simulation. We hope you went ahead and enjoyed. Subscribe for more videos on the Southeastern Sports Network account. For Scott Atchison, for Nathan Goergen, for Zack Vance behind the camera, for Gabby Haynes, for Evan Miller, and for Turner Graves, my name is Tristan Fluhr. Thanks. So long.